looking forward to this chat, Paul. So, Paul, before we get into it, I would like to play a short video. Shall we go ahead?
Right.
Okay, so I think obviously there is some storyline, and obviously it's a big game, Chelsea versus Everton. It's been not easy for us. Like Chelsea Everton games have always been very close, but obviously like that video said, Paul, for you as in Benitez being a proper Anfield kind of legendary manager, so to speak, moving to Everton. Firstly, how did you feel about it, and of course, what is your report overall on Benitez versus what Ancelotti was?
Well, originally when Benitez was hired, I thought it was a strange move. I thought it's a real decisive one because you're gonna cut the fan base in half. A lot of people didn't like it. That being said, I think I've given him a fair go, and I have. I've said he's done well at games against Burnley and stuff. But when you look at the facts, let's take out the fact that he used to manage those lot next door. We're in the worst form we've been in since 1994. That was under Mike Walker when we were pretty much bottom of the league and Joe Royle come in and saved us. I think his tactics are outdated. I consider himself now like a dinosaur. Some people are saying, yeah, him and Mourinho, like football's passed him by. I still think Mourinho's got a lot to add. But what's Benitez done in the last 10 years? He got Newcastle relegated. Okay, he got them promoted. Big deal. Got them promoted, so what? He went off to the Chinese Super League and failed miserably. This job's convenient for him. He lives over the water in the Wirral. He's got a house there. Like I said, I give him a fair go. But the last few games, the Arsenal game was a blip. That was like uncanny. We played well. But again, on Sunday, we were going up against Crystal Palace, who have lost 3 on the bounce. No disrespect to Crystal Palace, but we set that game up. The tactics were set up was like if we were going to Stamford Bridge or we were going to Anfield. He had them parked like a bus, and all it did was invite pressure on us. We only started attacking probably after the second goal went in. Now, if you're going to go up against someone like Palace, who like I said, have lost 3 in a row, don't park the bus. Try and have a go. Again, Everton hadn't lost at Crystal Palace since the mid-90s. And funnily enough, we haven't won at Stamford Bridge since the mid-90s as well.
I was about to ask you that, because that's something that we'll get to, and we'll get to the Chelsea-Everton game in particular as well. But yeah, then I just wanted to get your feel about Benitez on the whole, right? Because I know a lot of mixed feelings when he actually moved to Everton, and that was the whole point. But Ancelotti, what he did to you, sorry about that. I know even I would have done that in Ancelotti's position, but that was just kind of unfair from Everton's point of view, what happened. But yeah, that it is what it is, right? And you kind of go with it, and I think Benitez possibly was your best bet at that point, if I'm not wrong. But I think the another person that obviously links Everton is Lukaku, like you saw in the video again. So Romelu Lukaku, I know as a matter of fact, when I was kind of following him from his young days, him going to Everton is something that I did not like, because I actually saw him that he could be the real deal, and we saw his best years, almost the best years were at Everton where it started. So just as an Everton fan, because you've seen so much of Lukaku as well, not just in Everton, but I'm sure in Inter Milan as well, because I think Everton fans love him. That's what I understand, right? Now, at Chelsea, as in there are debates saying that, okay, he had a great start, but somehow he's not fitting the system. What is it that Chelsea you think should do for Lukaku to be, successful?
For me, Lukaku, he's Everton's top scorer in the Premier League. That says it all. However, he's not without fault. There's times where he does drop off. There's times where he can be considered lazy. What we noticed at Everton was sort of like around February, March, if there was nothing to play for Everton, if we weren't in Europe at the time or we were out of the cup competitions, his form really dropped off. The best thing I can say about Lukaku is he's a match winner. He's got everything. He's got strength, good in the air, he's fast. We probably did Everton probably did get his best days. I myself was like yourself. I was very surprised when Chelsea let him go. I mean, I think it was under Mourinho when De Bruyne left, Lukaku.
Yeah, it was actually
Salah was one as well.
I think Samuel Eto'o was obviously signed for like a year, and then obviously he went to Everton as well. That was the funniest part. And of course, Didier Drogba coming back. So those were the transition years of Chelsea, and I think Mourinho believes in the present. We all know that. And he didn't believe in Lukaku, starting, and Lukaku wanted to start. That is also, part of the story, right? Obviously Lukaku, if he would have been happy coming on as a super sub, I'm sure Mourinho would have kept him. But yeah, that's an interesting take for me, and for sure, Paul. And again, thanks for sharing that. But one story that has come up, I think, in Everton very recently in last couple of weeks is the Luka Digne stance. I don't know where you stand, but I think it's but clear that Benitez is having an issue, because Luka Digne is a fantastic left back for me, if you ask me. Like, I don't know if he's available. I would love Chelsea to actually go for him if Luka Digne is okay to be, back up to Chilwell in the future. But him is not the only one. Like, even Richarlison, despite being slightly injured, did not come off, happily the last match. So there is more to this, right? As Benitez has not got the dressing room going as well.
Well, exactly. From my knowledge, Luka Digne is fit and available to start the game, but he was also fit for the last 2 games. So what we learned is after the Arsenal game, it was told he'd had some sort of disagreement with Benitez. He didn't go into details. Benitez said that he would be available for the Crystal Palace game. He's just got to train. Then I think Luka Digne put an Instagram story out saying, don't believe everything you hear. He didn't travel. Don't know whether he's travelled with the squad yet. But it's not good if he's losing faith of some of the better players at Everton, because he's our only left back on the books and he is a good player. The rumour is Luka Digne has complained about the tactics. Now, Luka Digne is known for getting up forward and getting assists. He's got no assists this season. He's not been in the best of form himself. Because we can't pin all of Everton's problems on the manager. Some of these players have seen other managers go as well. But the Luka Digne situation, it's not good. Obviously with financial fair play, Everton have to sell to spend. And there's rumours like Inter Milan are looking at him, possibly Man United, but it's not good times to be an Evertonian.
Okay, so anyway, let me know in the chat, especially Chelsea fans. Do you think Chelsea should actually, tempt Everton to go for Luka Digne? Because for me, Luka Digne is someone who could really, be that attacking left wing back that Chelsea needs if Alonso kind of, decides to move on eventually, right? And that's going to happen. But again, Paul, no offense there, but I think I am kind of, if you ask me, I say that Chelsea should possibly tempt Everton. By the time kind of, Benitez is manager, maybe January, something that we would like to have him. And we play a lot of games, so he'll get a lot of games as well. But one person, obviously, who's been standout in Everton, I think the player of the season for Everton has been Demarai Gray, you would say? Or what's your call?
Yeah, he's done well, especially considering we've only paid 1.5 million for him. One positive I can say about Benitez is the business he's done. He's done well. He's got Gray in for 1.5. Townsend in on a free, who's done well. And that's really all he's had to do. But yeah, he's probably been Everton's best player. You could argue Decore, he's done well this season as well. But there's not been too many to pick out for who's been the best. But yeah, Demarai Gray's got 5 goals and 3 assists. Which if you're looking at that, Jack Grealish hasn't got that much and he's cost 100 million.
You had to get in that. You had to get in that, I'm sure. I'm not
saying that Demarai Gray is better than Jack Grealish, by the way, but he's doing well. He's doing very well. It's definitely Everton's danger man anyway.
And just the impression that he's given, right? He's looking like the potential that he always looked at Leicester, that was missing for the past couple of years, and that's great. Like, again, will Everton be able to keep Demarai Gray? I don't know. Like, people in the chat, dude, let me know. Would you want your club to actually go in, tempt Everton for a Luka Digne or for a Demarai Gray? Because the team spirit is not there. Rafa Benitez hasn't got them going, and I don't think, do you see Rafa Benitez actually getting the sack, Paul? Like, again, we don't want to be the team which gets him the sack, because after all, he's our ex-manager also, but we all know we don't like Benitez either.
I can see him definitely getting the sack. I think it could be a cricket score tomorrow. Now, yeah, we have got a lot of injuries out. Obviously, we've missed Calvert-Lewin. He's only played the first 3 games. But at the end of the day, last Christmas, Ancelotti had this team was second. So you can't go from that to down there. Okay, yeah, Calvert-Lewin's been out injured all season, but you can't pin all your problems on that. I think if we lose to Chelsea, which I think we will, don't like to say that, but they've got Leicester at home on Sunday, which is going to be, Goodison Park's going to be very toxic. I can see him getting sacked because the results we've got coming up are really tough.
Yeah.
But we don't know who's making the decisions at Everton. Farhad Moshiri has just recently let go Marcel Brands, the director of football. So it looks like Benitez is in charge of recruitment now. It sounds like the owner's doubling down on him, but if you could hear the away fans on Sunday, it was not kind to Benitez. They didn't like his tactics. They didn't like his substitutions. You know, it's like he wants to get sacked. It's strange.
Wow, that's interesting that you called there. But yeah, do you have someone in mind that you have as a favorite? Again, I know that it's very early to call, but someone, if Benitez gets a sack, who's the preferred and who's been reported to be, the best?
Well, like what happened last time before Ancelotti came in, Duncan Ferguson was given it as caretaker manager, and his first game, fully enough, was against Chelsea at Goodison, and he got the players motivated. I don't think that'll be a long-term thing. The managers who were getting linked to it, from what I believe, was the Denmark manager Frank Lampard, and an outsider was Wayne Rooney.
Interesting. As in, those are not bad shouts if you really ask me, especially the Denmark managers. Actually, great. As in, again, but would Everton be able to get him? I doubt it. But as in, I don't know. For me, when Rafa was appointed, I know it was a weird circumstance in itself. But would you say Everton's mandate would have been Rafa to just get them like around mid-table for this season? That would have been the target. What do you think?
I think the owner and the shareholders have thought Benitez will be a safe pair of hands. We want someone to just keep Everton level where they are until we get this new stadium in 3 years. But he's not done that really. He's took us down. And to be honest with you, if he stays, we're in a relegation battle at the moment. And it's been a while since I've been able to say that. And when you look at the money that's been spent, it really is a farce, to be honest with you. I can't see Benitez staying. I think the fans have turned on him, especially the away fans, and I don't think he's going to be able to turn them back.
Yeah. So again, just as a neutral, I know we'll get to the match, the big match that we're all here to speak about. But quickly, just as a neutral, what is your take? Like in terms of Premier League race as well as Champions League race, who's your favorite? Like, do you think that Chelsea can do it, or do you have like City for sure as favorites?
To be honest with you, I only said this the other week to a few of my friends. I do think Chelsea will win the league. I looked at it, the 7-0 win against Norwich. Just dominating. I know City won 7-0 the other day, but I always think City, they're lacking that number 9 up front that they used to have with Aguero. It was only on the weekend they were struggling to get a goal, and they ended up getting a pen, obviously, to make it 1-0. Liverpool, obviously, unfortunately, I have to say they're a pretty good team. They've probably got one of the best front threes when they're all fit and healthy. Van Dijk. But I think Chelsea have shown, even when Lukaku was out injured, they're scoring goals for fun, and he was struggling to get in the team. So I think if Chelsea can get Lukaku on top form, firing on all cylinders, he really will be unstoppable.
We will be moving now into, obviously, the Chelsea versus Everton build-up. So again, I don't want to kind of rub it in, Paul, but it is, after all, 3rd versus 14. Everton have had I think 1 win in the last 5. In fact, 2 wins in 10, if I'm not wrong. 7 losses in 9. 4 continuous away losses. That is like a bit too much. In fact, I don't know. Do you remember Benitez, the last time he actually got 5 consecutive losses? When was that?
I'm guessing he must have done that at Newcastle.
Absolutely not. You know what? That is what I was surprised by when I was reading this. He actually did that way back in 2006 with Liverpool. So I know that Benitez hasn't been great with Newcastle as well as in Everton.
It's been a great 5 weeks for me, that.
So imagine that, you wanting to kind of get there or not wanting to get there because you don't want to kind of, go on the other side of Merseyside and compare the stats with them. But in terms of Chelsea, obviously we are not in a great run of form either. Obviously we know that we beat Leeds just about. It was a lucky win, let's be honest, but it's part and parcel of the season. Hopefully, we'll possibly play better next time around against Everton, and that is what I'm hoping. But we've got what 3 wins in the last 5. Not great for Chelsea standards as well. And I think Everton in the last 5 games against Chelsea. I'm sure you remember, Paul. How many games has Everton won in the last 5 games against Chelsea in the Premier League?
Ooh, I'd say 3, but they've all been at home. Yeah, they've all been at home. Yeah.
Exactly. So all the 3 wins, like Paul said, have been at Goodison Park, none at Stamford Bridge. And you know what? Even in the previous 15, they just got 3 wins. And again, all 3 were at Goodison Park. So you said it right. As in the last time that Everton kind of beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League was way, way back. So I think it's about 26 games back.
Yeah, I think it was 94. Paul Rada scored for Everton.
Wow, 20 obviously, yeah, 26 games. As in we can expect as in umpteen number of years, right? That's what you're talking about. But yes, do you remember when was the last time Everton even scored a goal at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League? Again, I don't want to jinx it, Chelsea fans, but yeah, this is what it is, right? So, did you recall which was the last goal at Stamford Bridge for Everton in Premier League? No, it was again long time back. It was 5 years ago, 2016.
Stephen Naismith.
Yeah, that's right. 2016. Imagine, correct. So that is what this tie is. But again, in terms of midweek fixtures, in fact, on Thursdays, the last 5 times Everton has played on Thursday, do you think Everton has even faced a single loss? Absolutely not. You know what? Everton have been unbeaten in the last 5 times they've played on a Thursday night. So again, something has got to give, right? And then I know history doesn't count for much, but at some point, again, there is some recurrence of these things. So I always, we believe in Almighty Blue FC that there is some kind of, pattern to it. And there is a DNA in the club which kind of suits in, and people who are there, players are there for years together, right? But I think talking about Chelsea, now Chelsea, obviously, we've had Mason Mount in form. Again, crossing my fingers that he remains in form because I think he scored in 3 consecutive Premier League games. So if he scores in the 4th one, that is obviously against Everton on Thursday night, I think he'll become Chelsea's youngest ever player in the Premier League to score 4 consecutive goals. And that's something that I really wish Mason Mount becomes. In terms of head-to-head, recently, I think this season it was a 2-0 victory that we got over Everton. And was it Godfrey who scored an own goal? So him playing as a left back, would you consider that? Would you play him as a left back?
To be honest, with the injuries that we've got, it looks like Seamus Coleman's out. So I'd be guessing that Mason Holgate's going to play right back. Yerry Mina's out injured, so you're going to have to play Godfrey in his best position, in my opinion, centre half with Michael Keane. Now, this is going to show Lukaku Digne needs to come back in at left back. Will Benitez be stubborn and leave him out? Probably.
Exactly. So again, you told about a couple of injuries, but I wasn't aware. So you're saying Coleman is possibly out, right?
Coleman's out. Richarlison's out. Townsend's also out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be your change to this team? You would play Holgate at right back, and I think obviously a youngster at centre back.
Yeah, I'd put Godfrey and Michael Keane centre back, Holgate right back. I'd bring Lukaku Digne in.
Interesting. So yes, again, this is what formation-wise, I think possibly Benitez will go for it because he would like to get the protection against Chelsea. And I know Alan hasn't been fit either, but I think he'll try and get him fit. And I think him and Doucouré, I think, is possibly the only place. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but maybe Chelsea are a little bit brittle. That's what I feel. Again, people in the chat, what is your key battle? For me, it's certainly the midfield battle because that is where Chelsea don't have too many fit players. And talking about Chelsea's injuries, obviously, just fresh from press conference, we have N'Golo Kante. Yes, he's finally fit, but I really doubt if he would start. He'd be in the bench at best. Same with Chalobah. Chilwell, yes, there are reports saying that he's a little bit kind of trying to run, etc. But that's just about going with the process. It is still expected that he'll come back earliest by Jan end. And again, there are also reports saying that he would possibly need a surgery as well. Most probably, let's hope that's not the case, right? But Kovacic hasn't completed his, quarantine period, which is another, 2-3 days. So let's hope that he plays against Wolves. But for me, let me try and share the Chelsea predicted 11. Again, people in the chat, do get in your Chelsea 11 that you would prefer in this game. I know games are coming like left, right, and center. For me, certainly, this is a game where possibly there could be some kind of experimentation. But again, like, do we have any options? Really, I would actually play with this team. Again, I'll try and explain myself, Paul. Do let me know if you disagree. And of course, people in the chat, do comment in your playing 11s. The reason why I'm going with Thiago Silva is again because I think we played over the weekend, so we have 4 to 5 days to recover. So I think Thiago Silva, for him, it should be good enough, and probably I'll rest him against Wolves because of Rondon. Rondon brings that aerial ability, which possibly I see Thiago Silva and maybe even a Christensen attacking or tackling better compared to an Aspilicueta. So I would actually have these two for sure. And Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho, they pick themselves. I don't see any issue here. I don't know, people, would you like to risk Kante? I think Just Viola says Kante is going to be on the bench, confirmed by TT. Yes, of course. He did confirm. Sorry about that, but yes. Or maybe playing Saul because of Everton, not being in form, having a lot of injuries, like Paul said. And at right wing back, obviously, Reece James has to play another game. Alonso is the only option I see at left wing back. I think the rotation, if it all, will happen up front. So Mason Mount, like I said, is the man in form. I would play him. Ziyech has looked good, so I would actually get him in instead of Havertz or Werner, you may say, and Lukaku the same because of him, playing against Everton, and of course he needs the minutes, right? So if you see this 11, Paul, what do you think is your prediction?
It looks scary. I seen your conversation earlier about Reece James or Trent Alexander-Arnold. Me being a biased Everton fan, I'm going to say Reece James, but not just because I'm an Evertonian. Trent Alexander-Arnold, yeah, he's good going forward, but he's got mistakes in him. Whereas Reece James just seems to have the whole package. He's good going forward, he's good defensively, gets goals. But looking at that, I mean, you're talking about wing backs. You've got Alonso there. I believe you were saying Chilwell's coming back. Chelsea have probably arguably got as good fullbacks as Liverpool have. Everyone always raves about Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. No one mentions Alonso, Chilwell and James. They're really good players. It was surprising to see. I forgot about Loftus-Cheek. I forgot that he's back at Chelsea because he's always been a good player who's been out on loan a few times as well. And I've noticed Lukaku. He didn't start on the weekend, did he? I know he was on the bench. So yeah, he needs the minutes and a lot more motivation. You always want to do well. You always want to do well against your former club. And I'm sure he's every game he can get, whether it's against United, Everton, he's going to want to do well. And he's hungry for goals, which is scary. Me thinking about Everton's defence lately against Lukaku worries me because there's not a lot of confidence with the Everton sides. But yet there is injuries, but the players that are there now, they just seem the Reds go down if they go a goal down.
A couple of questions here, and like we addressed it already, Anand, yes, Kovacic. The news is that I think Tuchel was questioned and he kind of for a second did not remember exactly when he's back, but he did confirm later on that I think there are still 2 more days. So again, he may be just about available for the Wolves game, but I'll be really surprised because he is not match fit at all. So I wouldn't see Kovacic maybe in the starting 11 for another week at least. Again, let's hope he kind of gets back to full fitness. And same thing about Chalobah, Just Viola. Yes, Just Viola, Chalobah is fit because he wasn't named by Tuchel in the injuries list. But same thing, like he's not had match fitness for the last almost 10 days now. So I wouldn't start him either. Everton, I know they're not in form, but I think Rondon against Chalobah not being fit, like I would still kind of bet my money on Rondon if you really ask me. So that's the reason I went for Christensen. And again, Christensen needs more confidence back because he was a great player last few months and he's lost that confidence in the last week or so. That's why I would play Christensen. So yeah, as in again, interesting prediction there. As in for me, certainly it's going to be like a 2-1 victory. It will be much closer than what people think. Paul, I don't want to kind of stay on the fence, but the reason I'm saying that is because of Benitez, being the situation that he is. I know that you say that his house is there and probably he's the one who's making recruitment and things like that. But for me, Benitez, right now the writing is on the wall. Like he will possibly be sacked, like you say as well. So this is the time when he'll really get them kind of at least defend. So I think Everton will take a point. So I think they will obviously go for that point. And Doucouré and I think obviously if Haaland is fit, these two are key for Everton in my view. And of course, Rondon up front at set pieces is dangerous. I know he's not scored many goals, but I think with Chelsea, set pieces is always a thing, right? As in we're not great at set pieces defensively. So that's what I would say. Again, hoping that Thiago Silva plays. But I think, yeah, then I see a couple of predictions here. Just Final says 2-0. Yes, we need that clean sheet. And of course, Paul would be happy that I'm at least giving Everton a goal. But I don't know what's going to happen.